everyone, welcome to TechTok, a weekly mini video series talking tech topics. Today I am joined by Phil Bennett, who is the engineering manager at Klarna. Hi Phil.
Hey.
Hi, thanks for joining us today. So Phil has written an article titled Stepping Down as Dictator, Giving Great Teams Permission to Make Awesome Decisions. So for people that haven't read the article, maybe you could tell us a little bit about what it's about and what inspired you to write the article.
Yeah, so one of the things I noticed, I've been at Klarna for about just over a year now, a year and a couple of months, and we hire really good people. So we have a great pipeline, and the people that come through that pipeline are very high quality. And what I noticed, which is something I hadn't really experienced too much in my career, was these groups of highly skilled people were not... making decisions wasn't particularly easy for them. And that kind of came about from too many conflicting concepts, too many conflicting ideas, and also the abilities to present their ideas was very strong. So it was very easy for multiple people to convince each other that their idea was as equally good as the other one, therefore making it very hard to make a decision and move forward, right? Yeah. And then so in our team, we started to use a couple of processes to try and unlock this. One being the lightning decision jam, and the other one being the design sprint process. And both of those have a kind of similar structure. And then when I kind of looked at it and thought about it, like it's the structure rather than the actual processes themselves of that flow, very simple flow that people go through that actually helps like unblock that decision-making process. And then so I kind of documented that in the article, and just kind of wrote some guidance on why these things work and a couple of steps on how you could go through it without necessarily using those processes.
Okay, cool. Thanks for explaining that. So in the article, you mention analysis paralysis.
Yes.
Could you briefly describe what is meant by this? And
I think...
Sorry, go on.
No, go on.
I was just going to say, and is it also something that you've experienced personally? And if so, could you give a little bit of advice around people that may suffer from the same?
Yeah, I think for me, I definitely, I suffer from it much less now, but like midway through my career, I definitely had this problem. And I think it's a kind of like, when you don't know anything, you don't realize what you don't know. Mm-hmm. So when you start to understand things, you understand all the things that you don't know yet. And then I think that starts to become a bit of a blocker when you actually are able to understand the scope of the problem and how large a problem space is. And then you can't kind of see, I guess you can't see the wood for the trees, right? And then you can't make those decisions. So I definitely, in the middle of my career, sort of like 5, 6, 7, 10 years in, like I definitely came across these problems, and I was scared. I knew that making the wrong decision was possible at that point. So then it's the kind of fear of making that wrong decision. And I think, yeah, and the main tip for getting over it is just, I think it's understanding it's okay to make the wrong decision. Like it's a learning process, right? So if you do make those wrong decisions, it's okay, but you just have to understand that you have to make sure your processes are right, that you are minimizing the risk of making the wrong decision. So like do like MVPs, proof of concepts and stuff to try and test those things out is always a good idea. And then you can restart and try again if you do make a mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. Thank you. So earlier you mentioned the two methodologies, design sprint and lightning decision jams. What is your experience of implementing these, and how did it help?
Yeah, so the design sprints are something that we've been using for about a year now within my team at Klarna. There are other teams that use them in Klarna as well, and they're amazing. And it's not kind of rock. I mean, there's a lot of people who are evangelical about this design sprint process, and it's not rocket science. It's just a structured process, and you take the whole team through like a step-by-step process, and that helps you get to the endpoint. And we've used it a couple of times in our team, and the results have been significantly measurable, and had significant measurable impact for Klarna and for our customers as well. I mean, some of the examples are that we've been able to reduce service support calls by some of the tools that we've generated quite significantly through an outcome of a design sprint. And the other thing is we had an action that the user was meant to take that was taking too long. The kind of average time of this thing that they were doing was taking them about 2 to 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And through the design sprint, we came up with a solution that brings that down to like hours. So like within a day, this process was happening. So making significant measurable impact on the business. And it's those processes are amazing, and we're using them to really have an impact on what we do. The Lightning Decision Jam process is slightly different. It's a similar process, but it's done in an hour. So what this is amazing for is helping teams make decisions when they're blocked on simpler, more straightforward things. Well, on smaller problem spaces. So we use this so one of the I'm involved with some cultural groups within Klarna, and that means there are a lot of people within those groups that have a lot of opinions and ideas, and that's great, and it's really inspirational, but getting to action points that we can actually implement to help build the culture within Klarna is very hard. So we use the Lightning Decision Jam process to do that, and then the outcomes of that were very, very small, tangible, real things that you can do immediately, and that's the real beauty of the Lightning Decision Jam, is the outcomes you can usually do that day or the next day and have an impact, rather than just talking around for hours and hours talking about things.
Cool, sounds good. So for people that would like to try and implement these with their teams, can you give some helpful do's and don'ts to help them?
The main do is energy level. The processes they take a lot, especially, the design sprint is a week-long process where you lock up to 10 people in a room, and you are on it for the whole week. So making sure that people's energy levels are up is really, really important, because when people start to sag, it can get quite a bleak experience. So it's bringing the energy, keeping it light and entertaining is really, really key. As part of the Lightning Decision Jam process, even there's a recommendation that you use music, so you have a playlist going on in the background to kind of keep the energy levels up while people are thinking and going through that process. Seeing fresh fruits and making sure people are eating sensibly at lunchtime and not eating too much. One of the design sprints, we made the mistake of, we went out for a big fried chicken lunch with the team, and it just killed the productivity in the afternoon. We kind of lost.
Ready for a nap afterwards.
Yeah. It was really, really, really everyone had a food coma afterwards, and we didn't have a very productive afternoon. That was slightly challenging. So the energy levels are important, and the other thing is giving people the permission to be there. And I know that's you can invite them in the room, but making sure that everyone's opinion is heard and equal and valued is super important in these processes, because for a number of reasons, the best ideas don't necessarily come from those with the most experience. And in fact, people with less experience have less barriers and biases, so they can potentially come up with much more groundbreaking, influential solutions to your problems if you give them the space and show them and let them know that they're trusted to make those decisions and be a part of that process. And then the outcome of that is that if everyone feels that their ideas and input is valid, they have major ownership of this. So getting the stuff delivered is super easy, because people are this is our project, this is our delivery, we came up with this. It's not something that some product manager or some designer just came up with and then gave to us and we have to build. The team has come up with the concept and the idea, and then the ownership just drives that delivery and makes it very easy to get that over the line.
Cool, sounds great. Thanks for explaining that, Phil. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Just wanted to keep it short and sweet as usual. But if anyone is interested in reading the article that Phil wrote, I will share it in the comments, and you can actually reach out to him directly as well. Is that okay with you, Phil?
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect.
You can find me on LinkedIn or Twitter.
I'll share his LinkedIn profile and Twitter as well. So, okay, thanks, Phil. Thanks everyone for watching.